I want to stay on the Libs now because you've written about their problems today, and I loved it. I want to show. I'm a bit disappointed. You showed that you were watching some ABC coverage on the New South Wales election rather than Sky News, but you highlighted this comment from a bloke I used to work with, Tony Barry, a former Liberal Party strategist. Have a look.
So there's clearly some problems for the Liberal Party, and whilst the New South Wales Liberal Party is certainly performing better than the other states, you know, it's difficult to admit you've got an ugly baby.
Yeah, it's an ugly baby. Critics would say it's an ugly old man at the moment. But what do you reckon the Liberals need to do here?
Well, you and I have both done a lot of television. You certainly much more than me, and I think we can both tell a rehearsed line when we see one. But that doesn't mean, Chris, that the Liberals aren't dealing with an ugly baby scenario. But the thing is, ugly babies aren't necessarily ineffective babies. You know, you can have a very cute kid, might be a total disaster, and it's a matter of achievement rather than appearance. And I think that's a matter that the Liberals have got to impress upon the electorate over the next, depending on however long various state and federal elections are to come up. But they've got a definite case to make here on the opposite side of issues like climate and various fashionable things that are troubling them at present. But I think on the right there is a vast landscape of potential votes ready to harvest if the right arguments are made.
Well, firstly, I don't think I've ever seen an ugly baby. I just think all babies look like Winston Churchill, and they grow up to either be beautiful or ugly. But the point here is, you're absolutely the Liberals. So many of them don't want to be right of centre because they know when you're right of centre that people attack you and you get into all sorts of arguments. They actually want to be left. And I was astounded when I was part of the Sky News coverage on Saturday night. I interviewed Michael Photius and told him that he was the leading moderate. You've gone woke, you've gone broke. And he said, well, it worked for Labor because they won. So, but hang on, they're supposed to be left of centre. They're supposed to be woke. People actually need a right of centre alternative.
Yeah, absolutely. That was actually fascinating television. I haven't seen a lot of Michael Photius over the years. He doesn't give a huge amount of live interviews. So that was an intriguing piece. You'd expect someone who's a very senior in the Liberal Party to have been devastated on Saturday night. He didn't seem so. No, he seemed to be sort of rolling with it, kind of content, and made very calm and dispassionate arguments in favour of his position, which apparently is to lose. Yeah, I don't get it.
Just extraordinary, and they seem to think that they're only losing votes on the right, and you go off chasing those numbers of vote. They don't understand that when you stand for nothing in the middle ground, people think, well, I may as well vote for a Teal or I may as well vote for Labor. You know, if you make yourself mushy, you lose votes all over the place, and that's exactly what they've done in just about every state in this country now. I just want to show you a tweet from Simon Holmes à Court, speaking of the Teals. These are the people who want to bring respect and dignity back into politics. He says that the Liberal Party gives us candidates who are climate deniers, anti-vaxxers, misogynists, racists, homophobes and transphobes. And he says the Liberal Party reflects society's worst prejudices. Is that a nicer, kinder, gentler version of politics from Holmes à Court?
This is reminding me a lot. It might remind you too of the mood on the left after 2007's election, when Labor had the entire mainland as well as Tasmania. And the attitude then was not exactly one of building bridges, let's say. I remember commentators on the left demanding that, for example, your newspaper, The Australian, sack all of its centre-right commentators because they're not relevant anymore. Let's have a one-party, one-media state, was the argument, because they're terrified of the comebacks. And that's why people like Holmes à Court exaggerate, mischaracterise and misrepresent their opponents. They can't deal with a lot of the arguments. So, the right is evil. They've always been evil. That's their argument they're going to have going forward. And good luck with that. It never holds up.
Yeah, it's hateful, and they do want a one-party state. Let me just show you a recent era of Joe Biden just to cheer us all up. This is a bloke in charge of the free world, getting a couple of countries mixed up that you would have thought might have been front of mind for him.
I applaud China for stepping up. Excuse me, I applaud Canada. You can tell what I'm thinking.
Tell that he's thinking. Tell that he's got no bloody idea.
Yeah, well, it's easy to tell the difference. As we saw in recent years with Canada, China's more free.